Hi guys, this is Tina from Shabby Dabby Doodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we're here for day 4, I think we're up to, of our 7 days of toppers for junk journals and folios and things like that. And what I thought we could do today is make some using lace as our kind of base for our topper. So I've got some lace here, which obviously I have food coloured both of these laces. Actually, I've got this one as well. So we're going to just work with all of these. Now, these are sort of stiffer than, you know, they're not a really flimsy lace. I mean, if I kind of, well, I mean, it is flopping, but, you know, it's not a really flimsy lace. So, I mean, hopefully, you know, you might have something like this in your stash. This is an old pair of neck curtains and, you know, it's more kind of like a heavy cotton lace rather than that really flimsy kind of delicate lace. But yeah, I thought that we would kind of, you know, be able to make some pretty toppers from some of these laces. So I'm going to start with this piece. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut 2 kind of sections. So I'm going to just take it here and cut it down like that. Oops. Like that. Now, I think this is some lace I got in a Happy Mail. I do apologise, I can't quite remember now, I'm afraid, and I feel so bad about that, but it's just really hard to keep track of things, to be honest. So, yeah, I think it was from a Happy Mail, but I could be completely wrong. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut it down here. Sort of, you know, what will be my, like, bottom part. Like that, okay. So this is going to be, like, my base of my topper piece, and then what I'm going to do is just layer it up, because obviously lace is quite flimsy. So if I kind of layer it with 2 pieces, it's going to give me a slightly thicker piece, you know, to work on and to use. So I'm just going to cut that down slightly, and I'm using the same lace. Obviously you could use different lace if you wanted to kind of mix and match. You could use an alternative lace so that you've got some different kind of looks going on. In fact, I have got some other lace down to the side of my desk, so I'm going to just pull that in a minute, because to be honest, maybe I would prefer to use that. So let's just chop that down. Now, obviously you can see, I mean, I've made an appalling job of cutting this. Have not done this, you know, done this straight or anything else. That's fine. I don't mind that at all. I quite like the, you know, the ruggedness of it and the kind of irregularity of it. Obviously, if you are kind of more of a neat freak and, you know, you want to have it kind of looking a bit tidier, then by all means, you know, you could, you know, cut it with a bit more precision. So this is kind of what I would term more floppy lace. So, I mean, they are floppy, but for some reason this just feels floppier still. So, yeah, I can't really kind of put it quite into words, but you know what I mean. So I'm just wondering whether we might prefer to actually kind of layer up the laces with different colours. I mean, that does look pretty for sure, doesn't it? Let's just have a look like that. I'm just now wondering whether, oh, that's pretty. So yeah, what I'm going to do is just take this lace here, and then I'm going to pop it on there. So what I'm going to do, I think, is just glue this on. So I'm going to just use my Fabri-Tac, or, you know, 3-in-1, to glue this on. Now, obviously, you know, we are just gluing lace here. So, of course, it's going to go through to the undersurface. So just be careful, you know, if you're doing anything like this, that you don't just do it on like a, you know, regular table. Obviously, I've got my craft mat down, so it doesn't matter, you know, if it goes through, but if you're doing this kind of like on a regular table or something, then you're going to need to be a bit more careful. And then we're just going to chop that down here. Again, you know, I'm paying no mind to, you know, how neat and tidy that is. I don't want to kind of get bogged down with, you know, worrying about how neat and pretty the edges look. So there we go. And then obviously I can then glue that whole thing together. Now I could stitch this. I don't know how brilliant it will stitch, it's got to be said, because obviously, you know, it is just lace, and lace obviously is, you know, quite thin. So I sometimes have struggled on the sewing machine when it's kind of lace with lace, if you know what I mean, rather than lace with something a bit thicker to hold it together. But, you know, I mean, I'm not the best on my sewing machine, so you may not encounter that problem. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to stitch that, you could obviously go round and just, you know, stitch. I mean, you could do a regular stitching, however you like, really. But that's going to be the base of that one. So let's just pop that to one side whilst it's drying a minute. So then I've got this lovely green, and this one, as you can see, I mean, it's slightly narrower. So again, what I could do is I'm going to just cut this down like that. And then what I could do to extend this is double it up. So like that, and then just kind of double it with another piece. So again, just going to chop that down like that. Okay, and that's just literally then, you know, extended that, and in the process it's also again made that thicker and slightly more kind of yeah, I guess hardy, or yeah, oh, what would the expression be? Yeah, I guess kind of made it, you know, thicker and more kind of hard wearing, hasn't it, really? So again, just going to pop some glue down on here like that. And, you know, you can use any glue, to be honest. I mean, I just happen to be using my 3-in-1, but, you know, equally, I think the tacky glue would work fine for this. I could use my hot glue. The only thing I would say with the hot glue is obviously it's quite thick. So if you're likely to go around with your sewing machine, you know, you might not want to hot glue where you're going to sew, because your sewing machine might not like it. That, again, that's just my experience with my sewing machine. But again, you know, I'm not the best with my sewing machine. So, you know, play around and kind of see what you get the best results with. So again, just going to take some more of this ivory and just trim that down there. Oops. And then I'm just going to trim off a little bit here. Because, I mean, ultimately, you know, you're just trying to make something super pretty, and, you know, something that's going to look, you know, gorgeous on the front of your journal. And so you might want to build it up with several layers, you know, like we're doing here, because that's all going to add, you know, to the interest that you're going to have then on your topper. So again, just put some glue down the side, and then just pop that lace down there. Now, I've left it overhanging intentionally. Again, you know, I might decide that that looks terrible and come off and cut those. I might decide to just leave it hanging either the top or the bottom. But, you know, I've just given myself the option by leaving it longer, because if I obviously trimmed it all down, then, you know, that option's gone. So that is that one. So let me just pop this green lace away. Hold on 2 seconds. Oops. Okay. And then, oh, hold on. Then finally, I've got this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous lace. So this is actually from that same neck curtain, but it's just that it had a sort of hangy bit at the bottom, and then it had this section, if you see what I mean, for like the main section. So I'm just going to do exactly the same thing again, in that I'm going to cut down a little section that I can kind of layer up. So again, just kind of take that there, trim this down here like that, and across here. Oops. Okay, and then let me just get rid of this and pop this away. Just trying to be really good and actually put things away as I go, because obviously that's not a strong point of mine, so kind of helpful to actually put things away as I go. Right, okay, so just checking kind of which, you know, whether I have one side that's nicer. So, right, what I'm going to do is just trim this one down here. Okay. To overlay on there. Now, I mean, you can probably see, wow, I have made like the world's worst job of cutting this. It's worse than ever. I don't know quite what went on there, but hey, never mind. Let's just get rid of that, tidy that up a bit. Oh, that was terrible, wasn't it? Absolutely terrible. So yeah, I'm going to layer that. And again, you know, I might just break it up with a little bit of ivory. Oh, excuse me. I don't know where that came from. Okay, a bit of ivory and then that one there. So how gorgeous does that look? And again, you know, I could either have this kind of with like all around, or obviously put it, you know, the ivory longer, if you see what I mean. Actually, I think I'm going to put it shorter. So I'm just going to trim this down across there. Okay. And then just trim this one down here. Like that. Okay, right. Looking good so far. So just turn that one round. And then, yeah, again, so I'm just going to glue that lace onto here. And, you know, I'm really not being too fussy about where I put my glue, because obviously, you know, as I glue bits down on here, you know, and oops, as it takes shape and I decide what sorry, I'm struggling to put that there. As it takes shape and I, you know, put what I want to have on here, I'll get more of a feel for, you know, what needs to be glued. And then of course I can go back in with the glue and, you know, top it up and put more glue down. So at first, you know, this is my initial kind of getting all the layers stuck together. And then of course I can go back in with some hot glue or, you know, stitch in or whatever to, you know, to get it held together a bit better. I've just stuck that on the wrong way, would you believe? Oh, right. Okay. Now covered in glue, because of course now I've turned that over and it's now all gluey. Right. Ah, sorry. Just picking all sorts of bits up there on my fingers. Right. Okay, so that looks super pretty, doesn't it? And then, you know, I can always trim this down and kind of, you know, pull it into a different shape kind of, you know, once we get started. So let's line all of these up and we'll kind of do them, you know, and yeah, get decorating them. So obviously now I want to have like a focal point. Now, again, you don't always have to have a focal point. You know, it's completely up to you really. I do tend to go for focal points, but it's not essential. You know, you could just kind of decorate this up with a bunch of layers and, you know, things like that. Or of course, you know, you can have a focal point if you know, if you wish. It's nice to kind of play around and, you know, maybe do kind of different things each time rather than kind of always the same thing. And, you know, I'm totally guilty of doing the same thing all the time, you know, because I think, you know, we just kind of go with our leanings, don't we? And, you know, how we like things. Now, I've also got that Ernest Nister book, which I used last year in a couple of projects, or maybe even just one project. So I'm just going to tear this down and just see whether I might be able to use this picture here. So this is one of those, you know, pulley-outy books like that. So technically I've got kind of two pictures there that I could potentially use. I thought this one with the girl looks pretty good. She goes quite nicely with the green there. So let's just pull her down. So I just need to kind of dismantle the page here. So these are such gorgeous books. And I know that I did do, you know, several videos where I used these, but they're what you call moving picture books. So of course, you know, your picture is, you know, broken up into sections. So, you know, unfortunately you can't have kind of both the pictures without, well, you can, but you know, you have to cut them down, if you see what I mean. So it might be that you'd have to compromise, because you might end up, you know, cutting that over slightly. Not necessarily, but yeah, maybe I would. So let's just go for that. So she looks really pretty, doesn't she? So I'm just going to take her and glue her together, I think. So let's glue her with just the regular glue. And then what I'll probably do, I think, is take her over to the sewing machine and just then stitch around the edge. So I just glue this down, and then I can decide how I want to cut this. So I'm just going to stick her on there. Oops, like that. So you've got to be pretty careful, otherwise you're going to end up with your picture, you know, not in quite the right place. So yeah, hopefully that's in the right place there. And then what I'm going to do is just take that across to the sewing machine, I think, and stitch around that. Now, the other thing that I thought that we could do, oh, and again now I'm thinking, what did I do with them? Okay, I had some of those little wooden frames, which, oh, I'm struggling to find them. You know, okay, sorry about that. I had to go off and look for them. So this is one of those little wooden frames, chipboard kind of wooden frame. Now I bought a bunch of these from the range. They were just in a packet of, I don't know, maybe 8 or something like that. And absolutely ages ago, I kind of gessoed over this and then put some texture paste, or some heavy gesso it might have been, in the corners there. Obviously I don't want to use the spotty side, but how gorgeous does that look on there? Really, really, really cute, doesn't it? So I think what I'm going to do is actually put her onto there. So I just want to cut her down so she's going to fit onto that frame. So like that, and across the top. And then here. So obviously, because I'm using the frame now, I'm not going to bother sewing her, because, you know, she doesn't need sewing now. She's, you know, she's going to be tucked behind the frame, so she doesn't need obviously stitching now. So let's just go in slightly more. Yeah, I think she's going to look really good like that. And yeah, I think I'm going to leave this frame white actually. I kind of always do things, you know, go kind of over the top with the colour, I think. And yeah, I think for this actually, she's going to look really, really pretty with just the white. So yeah, I think that will be kind of a refreshing change. So let's just see if we want any more lace kind of maybe coming out to the side of that frame. So again, just going to cut this down slightly so it's not quite so big. And then if we had that here and the frame, yeah, I think that looks really nice. So I'm just going to glue her onto there. Now I'm going to hot glue her this time. So hot glue, pop her down, and that hot glue is obviously holding that extra bit of lace in place there, like that. And then take my frame and just have my frame kind of there over the top. So yeah, really like how that looks. And again, I'm just going to hot glue the whole of, oh dear, sorry, I just dabbed that on my finger. It was very, very hot. Okay, right. Okay. So like that. How gorgeous does that look? Really, really love that. And then I'm going to just take my sides down because it's, you know, it's a bit wide, isn't it? So just take those down a bit. And on this side as well. So like that. And then, yeah, I might do this side actually a bit more. And I could probably go in with that ivory. So, you know, this is the beauty of obviously not stitching, is because you can always then go in and trim afterwards. If I'd stitched all around the edge, obviously this would be not really doable, because it would obviously be now all completely stuck down. So, you know, that's a kind of like plus for the not stitching. You know, that's a kind of, yeah, a good thing about not stitching. So like that. Okay. Righty, let's put that to one side. Oh, I can't tell you how much I love the look of this already. It just looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Now, I'd quite like to have maybe one of my little ribbon pieces on here. And maybe a wax seal or something. So, yeah, I mean, this, obviously this is a kind of goldy one, but to be honest, I think it looks good because she is actually quite golden, you know, in her appearance, isn't she? So let's just pop that on there. Let me just grab my wax seal. Yeah, my wax seal, and of course my wax, because that would not be very good without that. So hold on a second. Sorry, my door is now stuck and doesn't want to close. Right, get the wax seals. Now, what colour wax am I going to do here? You can definitely see, can't you, the colours that I use the most. It's yeah, it's quite surprising actually how much I really do use those little green pellets. Don't know whether you can see that, but there's barely any left of the green. Oops. Oh, come on. Okay, so the green would have been nice, but obviously I'm really down to my last couple, so yeah, I'm not going to be able to use the green. So I'm thinking goldy. I mean, I've got this kind of grey colour that could work. Yeah, maybe that would work quite well. So yeah, let's go for that, shall we? And just melt my pellets in there. Okay. Now, wondering what else I might like to have on here. I've got obviously the rest of that book page, so I'll just see if it's got I mean, it's got this Can You Tell? I don't know. Oops. Come on. Let's just hold that down like that for a minute. Right, I don't know. This is quite the sentiment I want, Can You Tell? But hey, let's just have a look and see. Put that away. Okay. Or perhaps we'll have it like this. Yeah, perhaps we'll do it that way round. So I don't know whether I've actually got really enough wax in here to be... Oh, now I've put that candle out completely with the, you know, the wax thing that's just dropped in there. Would you believe this? Right, let me just get another candle. Oh, look, I had more. I thought they were all in this same sorry state, but no, actually these are fine. So, right, let's try and be a bit more efficient here. Okay, could have been there all day waiting for that one to melt, couldn't I? Right, let's just hold that down. Okay, Can You Tell? Let's have a look and see if we want to have one of those little metal book plates over that. Oops. What do we think to that? It's quite nice actually, isn't it? So yeah, so let's just glue this down. Again, just hot gluing this down. Like that. Okay. And then we'll just hot glue the book plate piece itself. Like that. Okay. Yeah, looking good. Looking good. Right. Then, just wondering if we want to have any like buttons or pearls or, you know, anything else. So I'm just quickly having a look here through my buttons. Okay, let's see. It's a bit big for there. Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? I mean, these are pretty green, so you know, they're maybe a bit too green. But they don't look too bad actually, do they? Don't know whether I'm going a bit yellow over there. Probably. Okay. Well, a massive one. That might be just a bit too big, although I think it's quite nice actually. Let me just see whether I want to swap that out with that one. Yeah, maybe kind of like that. Okay, right. I do love using the buttons on these toppers for some reason. And I know that I've said this before. I don't really tend to use my buttons, you know, anywhere near as much as I should. I mean, I've got loads of buttons and I absolutely love buttons. They're one of the things that, you know, I buy all the time. But yeah, I then just don't use them. And Lord only knows why, because, you know, I do actually really like them. But for some reason, I then end up just not using them. So yeah, I could do with actually using them. Okay. So we've got our couple of buttons over there, like that. And then my wax seal, I'm going to just have, I think, do we want it that way or that way? I mean, again, it's probably not really kind of much in it, but you know, that said, if there is a sort of better way, you want to obviously have it the better way, don't you? So yeah, let's have it this way. Okay, and then I'm going to do my wax seal, you know, directly onto the fabric. So like that. Okie dokie. There we go. Yeah, looking good. Okay, and do we want to have anything hanging from this, or, you know, like a safety pin or anything? Or, you know, I have even got some other lace. Let me just have a look at this. Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? So let's just cut a bit of this down. This is that beautiful crochet lace, and I know that I say it, you know, every time I ever use it, and I haven't used it for a while for some reason. Right, let me blow this out. Even if I want one again in a minute, I don't want to have a hazard sat on the desk. I always find it a bit terrifying when I have that candle there alight. Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? Just that little random strip down the side. Looks quite pretty there. So yeah. And again, just going to kind of like tear this open a bit, you know, so it's a little bit more, you know, rough and ready rather than really neat and tidy. So I'll just pop that there so as I remember where it's going. Okay. Oh, how gorgeous is that topper? I love how that looks. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So yeah, really, really pretty. So let's put that one to one side. Let's put this one in now. So I just thought we would use this little bird topper. This is obviously from a printable, but I thought it would look really nice on here as well. So I'm going to edge around it, I think, with some gold, just because I thought it would make it stand out a bit. And you know, obviously when you're doing things on a cover, it's your chance to be able to kind of like be a bit more flamboyant really than perhaps you might be in the inside of the journal. I mean, if you want to be, obviously there's nothing wrong with kind of plainer covers as well, you know, everything's good, isn't it? It all works. But I just think, you know, you might like to go all out with your pieces for your cover. So again, I've got this lace just kind of still here, so might as well, you know, use some of this like that. Okay, so I'm just going to have that lace kind of going in at a curve so as it's got something, you know, a little bit kind of interesting about the shape. So again, just going to hot glue this down. Yeah, I've decided I'm probably not going to be stitching this. So I'm just kind of going in now with the hot glue instead. Right, we've got that, and I'm just having a look around. I've also got this flower. Oh my goodness, how pretty is that? So this is just a hand-stitched flower that, you know, I made obviously a long time ago. But again, you know, just thought actually that might just work quite nicely on here somewhere. Again, just kind of playing around, seeing if we want any buttons or anything on here. Oh, they look quite cute, don't they? So, yeah, let's go for them. That one. And, oops, this one. Oh, if I can actually pick it up. Like that, okay. Now, for this, obviously, I could do something with this, like glossy accent it, or, you know, heat emboss it or something. So it's going to kind of have a shiny or a sheeny surface. Yeah, I think that would actually be really nice, to be honest. So should we do that? Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, okay, so I'm just deciding. I think I'm going to, yeah, I think heat emboss it just with some clear embossing powder. So let me just grab a sheet of paper that I can, you know, put the embossing powder onto. So, okay, and I always like to use my Versamark ink because it's, you know, sticky and, you know, very wet ink, she says. And now, of course, I can't find my Versamark ink. Oh gosh, perhaps I've left it out from something else. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, don't you hate it when you're just in the throes? Oh, there it is. Look. I knew I'd used it recently, so yeah, it was just a case of where had I left it. So yeah, just going to emboss the whole thing, and I'll have to do this 2 or 3 times to make sure it's got a good coating. Okay. Like that. Okie dokie. Right, let's go for this. Right, I do apologise if you can't see my heat tool. I just really haven't got room to pull it across. You know, the wire's not wide enough for it to pull right the way across the desk. So it's kind of pulled as much as it will pull now. I know I do say this every time that I heat emboss, but honestly, there's something about it. I just love the kind of magic process, you know, when you just suddenly see it changing from, you know, powder to the glossy surface. It's, yeah, it looks kind of almost like a magic process kind of happening before your eyes. So I love that. Okay. So that's my first coat, and you can probably see, I mean, it's glossy-ish, but it's got some patches. So I'll go over it a second time and possibly even a third time. And that way, you know, it will be really nicely coated and, you know, hopefully as well, really thick, you know, good thick coating. And yeah, it will look really good. So, you know, definitely it's worth doing it over and over rather than just kind of thinking, oh, that would do. I mean, unless, of course, it does look fine, you know, but it's just obviously if you're doing quite a big surface, especially, you know, it may just, you know, be a little bit uneven or just, you know, just require more than one coat. So here we go. Okey-dokey. And again, I've got that lovely magic effect going on here. It's such a shame. I wish that you could see this, but I don't think it's really kind of at the right angle now to actually to do it. And I don't know whether it's even showing off on camera anyway, but there's something quite therapeutic, I think, about the embossing powder, actually. Yeah, I quite like the process of it. And yeah, I mean, I've had my embossing powder and, you know, this, that. Well, I was going to say this heat tool, but actually this is my second or possibly even third one that I've had. But it was one of the first kind of like what I call tools, you know, that I bought when I got into crafting, when I used to do card making. And yeah, I mean, I often forget to use it, it's got to be said, but it's one of those things that I forget to use, and then whenever I do use it, I always think, oh, you know, I must use that more, because I do really love the effects. Right, I'm going to have to go around this a little bit more concentrated at the edges, because I've not really got a good coat going on at the edges. So I'm going to do it in 2 halves. So I'm going to go that half, I'll just dip it into that embossing powder, and then I will come back and do the other half. So, okay. Okie dokie. Yeah, hopefully you can kind of see, hold on, I'll just do that middle section. But hopefully you can see it's gone obviously much closer to the edges now. I mean, this edge possibly could still do with a little bit more, but you know, because I'm doing a video, I don't want to be here all day. So I'll just quickly do this half here, and then hopefully that will, you know, will look good enough. So let's just very quickly ink up that bottom bit. And the Versamark, just in case, you know, you're not familiar, it's their Versamark clear ink pad, and it's basically the one that's going to give you a very sticky kind of ink. It's a clear, you know, ink, and, you know, it's for just embossing. It's not for inking on its own, if you see what I mean. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's for embossing, but what I'm saying is it's got no colour to it, so you couldn't actually use it without, you know, embossing, because obviously you're not going to have a coloured ink, you wouldn't see an image. So I guess that's what, you know, makes it different to any other ink pad. Okay, that's that, and just quickly move it round, finish it off on this side. Right. Okay, so, I mean, you can probably see, I still probably could do with a little bit more in places. But, you know, like I say, I'm doing a video, so I don't want to be here all day, just literally keep embossing and embossing. And it will do. It's looking fine. So, pour that back into the jar. Okay, let's get the jar out of the way before I knock that over now, because that'll be the next thing that I'm likely to do. Oops, okay, oh sorry, got something now stuck, wedging my jaw from shutting. Okay, right, let's pop that away. So we're going to have this on here with the flower. Okay. Right, now again, I'm just going to literally, well, actually, just before I do that, I'm thinking, shall we have a couple of flowers or something kind of poking out from underneath there? So I've just got these little flowers. Oh, how gorgeous does that look? I love how that looks. So I'm just going to glue this one down like that. Okay, let me just check whether I want to have any more. Might be overkill if I have another one, but we'll see. No, it's not overkill. I think it needs another one. Oh, I mean, to be honest, it's very rare that I think, oh no, that's enough. be honest. I struggle to know when to stop is the usual thing. Right, okay. So we've got that like that. Now the only other thing that I'm thinking possibly we could do on here is maybe have like some ribbon, like as a little, you know, banner type piece. So, and possibly even just stapled on at the side. So let me just have a look and see what colour ribbons I've got. Oh gosh, that's very bright, isn't it? I've got my ribbons here to the side from something else that I've been doing. Oh, I have got some green, but I'm not really too sure that green's going to be quite the right thing. Let's just have a quick look. I mean, it's not really quite right with the pink, is it? Let's just pop that like that. Oops. What do we think? Or I have actually got some goldy coloured ribbon, which I'm thinking, you know, whilst we've got the gold around the edge of the bird piece, you know, then maybe even gold is, yeah, maybe we'll go for gold. So I'm just going to cut this yeah, let's just cut it like this actually, I think. Let's get rid of this green because I'm not going for the green now. I didn't think that the green would look very good, but I was stumped there for what colour would look good. So yeah, the green was kind of just like hanging out, and I thought, oh, well, let's try the green and see. But yeah, it didn't really look right, did it? Okay. And actually, we could have that coming out underneath the bird. So let's just glue that down like that. Okay. There at the side. Yeah. Okay. So that looks pretty, doesn't it? Okay. Right. So let's now glue this down. Now, the only thing is, when you have heat embossed something, you just need to be a bit careful, because if you hot glue it down, you are likely to reinitialize the, you know, embossing powder, because it kind of like heats it and, you know, remelts it kind of thing. So you just need to be careful, because that's when you can end up with like fingerprints in it, which, you know, I've done so many times I can't tell you. So yeah, it's just kind of something to be aware of. So for that reason, and don't get me wrong, I often do still do it with hot glue. The reason why I'm not with this is because it's a very big piece, and so I feel like my fingerprints would be very, very obvious. If it were a smaller piece, I would probably just take the risk and think, oh well, you know, it's only tiny. But because it's quite big, I feel like, you know, I need to kind of, yeah, operate with caution before I end up with big, you know, big fingerprints all over there. So like that, okay. And then I'm just going to hot glue this flower down. So obviously the only, you know, downside is where I've not used the hot glue, I'm just having to hold this in place a little bit, which of course if I'd used hot glue, you know, it would now just be stuck. So, you know, it swings in roundabouts. What's, you know, what's the good thing, or, you know, the better thing to do? And I mean, there's not necessarily a better or a worse. It's just kind of, you know, things to be aware of, pitfalls, if you're doing one thing as opposed to something else. Right, now I'm just wondering again whether we want to have another one of those, you know, wax seal pieces, or whether we're actually now, you know, perhaps we're overdoing it on this one. So yeah, I wouldn't mind having something up in that corner. Not quite sure what would be a good thing. Let me just have a look in my book. Seeing if I've got anything. Oh, animal friends. Okay, hold on. Right, hang on. Just that I saw all animal friends and I thought, well, that is a bird, isn't it? Which of course is an animal. So let's just take that. Okay. So again, what we could do is, I mean, we could now edge that in gold, and then it's got the continuity between the two pieces, because otherwise I guess I haven't really got anything else particularly gold. I mean, I have got the ribbon now, so yeah, thankfully we have got the addition of the ribbon, but otherwise I guess we were a bit lacking in the gold elements. So I'll just take that, and just wondering whether I want to have another one of these flowers. I love this flower trim. So let's just see. Oh, that's pretty, isn't it? So yeah, I'm just going to hot glue this down like that in that corner. And then what I'll do is hot glue this right down. And that sort of squashes that flower down as well, if you see what I mean. So like that. Okay. I guess the only other thing that we could do, you know, I know, you're probably thinking, oh, why doesn't she leave it? But hey, sometimes I just can't, as you know, is maybe do like a little, you know, ribbon ruffle down the side. So I'm just going to hot glue some ribbon in a ruffle just along the side, like that. And again, you know, I'm using hot glue because, you know, if you're ruffling, you're going to want something that's very fast drying. You don't want to be sat having to hold on to it or anything like that. You know, you want it to dry pretty much, you know, as you glue it, or yeah, as you place it really. So yeah. Okay, and then last little bit there. Like that. Okay. Ooh, right. And just trim that down. Okay. Oh, that's such a pretty topper, isn't it? I love how that looks. That's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think it needs anything else, but famous last words, it needs nothing else, but hey, can't quite resist adding something else. So I think the only other thing that I would probably add there is a little bow, which of course I've got some bows, you know, ready done. So let's have that up there. Again, I like the fact that we've got the ivory that goes with this lace, and then it's got the gold edging, which of course goes with all the touches of gold that we've put everywhere. So just glue that one down just there. How gorgeous does that look? Oh, I love how that looks. That's such a pretty topper. Right, let's put that to one side. Okay, last one. Right, let's see if I can speed up a bit because I feel like that took me forever. Right, we've got this one. So this one, I feel like I'd like to bring out the bluey greeny colour a little bit more because, yeah, it feels like it's a little bit kind of not lost, but, you know, this colour here, I mean, it's a gorgeous colour, isn't it? So to bring that out would be really great. So I've got here some cracked pistachio ink pad. Now I'm going to just go around the edge of this with some of that. I mean, obviously it's not kind of turquoise like that, but it's got the same like base colour. So yeah, I think it's you know, I think it works quite well. So I'm not going around the whole thing, but just that tiny little amount, it's just enough to kind of pull it out, isn't it? And you know, make it show up slightly more without kind of going too crazy or too, you know, too mad. Okay, right, put this away. Now just having a look to see what else we could add with this. So again, I've got some pretty ribbon which has got, you know, leanings of that cracked pistachio colour there. Obviously I want to kind of build this up. It's looking quite tiny on there, isn't it? So let's just have a look and see. See whether I could build it up by, you know, just maybe even like 1 or 2 more elements behind it. So that one there works quite well. And I don't have anything else. I'm just having a look. You know, because obviously it's good to use things that I've just happened to have here. I don't know why I've pulled this in, but it was just, it was in the ephemera box, and I thought, oh, let's see what that looks like. I'm not saying it looks good, but you know, it was worth a try, wasn't it? Now I'm wondering, do I want to actually emboss this like we did this one, so it's shiny? I mean, I do like the embossing, it's got to be said. But it did take quite a while, and I'm just aware that, you know, I'm probably just getting really boring to watch. So, yeah, perhaps what I'll do is glue this down. And then what we could do is maybe at the end, just add some glossy accents or something to that. And that way it will do, you know, it will have the same effect, but just in slow time, so you're not having to watch it. You know, the process of kind of drying it, which of course is, you know, not that much fun for anybody. Okay, right, now I've got some white lace here. Do we want to have this here? Yeah, that's quite pretty, isn't it? So I think what I'll do is just take this, okay, again just cut some down. Right, now I'm going to just do it in the middle, because this lace, you know, I like to have that curly edge, if you know what I mean. So just going to put it into the middle so that I've still got the curly edge for a different project. So like that, and then we will just cut around there. And again, you know, not kind of trying to cut this in like a, you know, an exact shape or anything like that. I'm just, you know, just really want to just have some lace roughly cut, you know, just so as it's got some that it's kind of sat on. So yeah, let's just go with that. Okay, pop that away. Oh, how gorgeous does that look? I mean, you can probably see that card that we just glued down, it's barely even visible. But weirdly, you know, although you can barely even see it, it's one of those things that, you know, if you didn't have it there, it just would kind of appear a little bit too insignificant, if you know what I mean. So although it's barely visible but very much needed, if that makes sense. So yeah, right, I'm going to do another wax seal on this one. So I'm just going to quickly glue this down. Okay, and yep, let's just glue that like that. Okay, and then just get some more hot glue. I'm going to definitely have a little ruffly piece going down the side, because I think that would look really good. Now, I'm wondering what to have here. What we could have is maybe a gem, if I've got something that's, you know, going to be a good colour. I don't know whether I have. Not these, but they are not a good colour really. Although, actually, it looks quite pretty, doesn't it? So let's put that there, and I think what I'm going to do now, at Christmas, during my use up Christmas stash, or, you know, use up stash, I tried to colour some gems with patina, and it worked really well. I'm going to try that here. Now, I'm not sure whether this is going to work quite so well, because what I'm going to try and do is colour it with some non-metallic patina, which the patina that I used in the Christmas using up stash video, it was all, I think I used all the bronze and the gold. So this is going to be, you know, bit of a trial and error kind of situation. So let's have a look and see. You know, and to be honest, again, it's just worth trying these things out, isn't it? Because, you know, sometimes you might just stumble across something that really works. And of course, if you don't try it, then you're never going to know, are you? Oh dear, that's pretty bright, isn't it? So yeah, let's just kind of tone that down by using not quite so much on these remaining bits. Okay. Right, okay. Well, weirdly, I mean, I don't kind of mind it. I mean, it's a bit strange, but well, actually, maybe it goes better than it did. So yeah, let's go for that. So that was using this colour, which is, oh gosh, I can't see. Oh, verdigris. I've also got some other green actually, which I'm wondering if I kind of mix the two, whether I might get a better colour match. So let's put that in there. Okay. Because otherwise it was very, you know, very blue based, whereas now it's got a bit more of like a turquoisey type, or, you know, a bit more of a greeny. Oh, that's a brilliant colour on there, isn't it? Yeah, really like that. Okay, I mean, it's a beautiful colour anyway, isn't it? But yeah, really love that. Okay, so yeah, let's do that. Okay, so let's glue this one down. Oops, I knew I've got out a glue stick. I couldn't remember where I put that. Okay, so let's just pop this down here. Okay, like that. And then I definitely want some of the ribbon ruffle kind of going down the edge here. I love that look, you know, just, yeah, just something really pretty about having the ribbon ruffle. So again, just going in, you know, super quickly after you apply the hot glue to just, you know, get your ruffles in. You know, and don't be too, you know, precise, I guess. You know, this you can probably see. I mean, it's very wonky and, you know, what have you. I mean, personally, I think that looks much better. You know, I don't want it looking really kind of uniform, because that just is boring, isn't it? So, you know, if you can have it, you know, messy but pretty. Messy but pretty. Let's have that as a thing, shall we? Messy but pretty. Then that's, you know, that's perfect then. Okay. So again, just then cut this down like that. Oh my goodness, how scrumptious does that look? I love how that looks. Really gorgeous. Okay, and then, I mean, you know what else I could even do is actually ink some of that lace, so as it takes on a bit more of a kind of turquoisey colour. I love how that looks. That's so pretty, isn't it? Okay, right. So let's just get this, pop this one down. Okay. Just wondering whether I could do with another one of these actually at the top. Yeah. I was going to have a bow there, but I'm not sure now. Kind of thinking maybe another one of these big gems would be really good. And again, you know, I love using a bit of bling, as you probably know if you've watched my channel. Love using a bit of bling and love like these big gems. And of course, you know, there's not always a, you know, brilliant opportunity to use them. because, you know, inside your journal, they may be a bit bulky, or maybe they just don't fit in quite with the layout, you know, because they're very, you know, very ornate and things. But if you can manage to kind of get them in, sorry, just trying out a button here. If you can manage to get them in on the cover, then, you know, that's a kind of brilliant way to be able to use them. You know, if you're like me and you're drawn to things like that and you would like to use things like that, but you can't quite fit them in anywhere inside your journal, you know, then on these toppers, that might just be, you know, a place where you find you can use them, you know, and they're going to then look pretty. So again, just pop that one down there. Okay. Right, let's get rid of that number 2. I'm clearly not going to be using that now. So yeah, let's pull in another one of those gems and just see. I mean, obviously, you know, if it looks rubbish, we won't use it, but let's just see how that would, oops, how that would look. Oh gosh. I ordered these, and actually I think I ordered these turquoise ones by mistake. I ended up with like hundreds of the turquoise, and yeah, I mean, that was a mistake. I didn't really want hundreds of them. But that said, actually now I've kind of done them with the green, I'm actually really loving them. I'm not so keen on them like this. They look a little bit, I don't know whether they look a bit cheap. I'm not sure what they look, but yeah, not quite so keen on them. But with that green, they really, oh gosh, sorry, just like squirted across my desk. They really look good. So yeah, it might be my new favourite thing to do with them. So I'm very covered in the patina now. And I always say this, I mean, you know, this patina, I'm not saying that this is how this is intended to be used. You know, I don't say you're intended to use it with your fingers, you know, and yeah, I mean, it's just something that I kind of quite like doing, you know, and yeah, I mean, I just think if you buy a product and actually, you know, you kind of then get it and think, oh, I'm not quite sure now what to do with this or how to use it, then just, you know, use it how you find is best to use it, you know, that works for you. Because there's nothing worse than buying something and then not using it. You know, it's better to use it in a kind of like non-conventional way than kind of then be, you know, maybe stuck wasting your money and not using it at all. And that was a bit how I felt when I got these patinas. You know, stupidly, and, you know, totally my own fault, I hadn't realised that they were not metallic. I thought that they were going to be kind of metallic like the bronze and the, you know, the copper ones. And so when they arrived and they were kind of flat colours rather than metallic, you know, I've got to be honest, I did kind of think, oh gosh, you know, I'm not quite sure now what I'm going to use them for. But actually doing things like this, it's just kind of made them usable really for me. So yeah, I'm all for just, you know, use things as you can. So, you know, if you've bought things and you think, oh gosh, how am I going to use that? You know, play around and you might find that you've got, you know, a way that you can use it, even if it wasn't the original thing you purchased it for, or maybe even the original thing that they invented it for. You know, and maybe your application methods will change, you know, like obviously applying this with my fingers. Pretty sure it's not really intended to be applied with your fingers, but again, you know, that's a method that I have found, you know, works quite well for me. So, you know, right, okay. So yeah, I really love those now that they're coloured. Really, really, really pretty. So yeah, should we have another one up there? Oh my goodness, how gorgeous does that look? So just then glue that one down like that. Oh, they are so scrumptious, aren't they? Right, let's clear the decks now. Kind of tidy up a little bit. And then let's pull in. So I'm just going to quickly wipe that patina up before I dip it into anything, or, you know, dip anything into it. So yeah, let's just get it off of here. Also, I do find it a little bit tricky to clean off of my mat. So yeah, better off getting rid of it kind of now. Oh, I'm so sorry about the state of my hands now, which are now, of course, covered in the green patina. Right, let's move these to one side because we've finished with those now. But I've got a couple now ready to use for something else. So let's bring in a cover. Now I have actually, would you believe, done a couple of other covers. So hopefully we've got something a little bit different to put our toppers on. Yay! Isn't it nice to have something different? Okay, so that is that topper. How gorgeous does that look? I love how that looks. It's so pretty. Absolutely gorgeous. And, you know, like I say, could always glossy accent this. I don't know whether I'm going to, but, you know, could do now. So, absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? That's that one. We've got this one. Again, not saying this is, you know, the right cover for this. But on the right cover, this would look absolutely scrummy. And then we've got this one. How gorgeous is that? Love, love, love them. Love the addition of that frame, I must say. And again, you know, it's quite good because I personally have struggled to use these frames. You know, yeah, I bought them and, you know, kind of have never really found a way to use them. So this is an awesome way to actually use some of those up. So yeah, really, really like those. Sorry, I've just got to pick that bit of hot glue out that was just calling me to be pulled out. And again, you know, I could always glossy accent her. I could glossy accent this. You know, might kind of do that when I come to use them. But aren't they just such gorgeous toppers? I have to say, without a doubt, my favourite one is this because I love the green on the gem and I love that green of that ribbon. But yeah, I do really like them all, and they're all, you know, a really different look, just using the, you know, the same concept with the lace layered up, and with the topper and then just decorated up. But they all have a very unique, you know, different look to them, don't they? So yeah, I really hope that you like them. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys tomorrow for another topper. So thanks so much then. Bye.